This presentation includes forward-looking statements as determined by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. All statements other than statements of historical facts included in this presentation that address activities, events, or developments that the company believes or anticipates will or may occur in the future are forward-looking statements. Such forward-looking statements involve known and unknown risks, uncertainty, and other factors which may cause the actual results, performance, or achievements of the company to be materially different from any future results, performance, or achievements expressed or implied by such forward-looking statements. Such factors include general economic and business conditions, the ability to acquire and develop specific projects, the ability to fund operations, healthcare services demands, changes in healthcare practices, government regulations, and other factors which the company has little or no control. The company does not intend and is not obligated to update publicly any forward-looking statements. The contents of this presentation should be considered in conjunction with the warnings and the cautionary statements contained in the company's recent filings with the SEC.
Good afternoon, everyone. If you will look on page 4, you will see our balance sheet at September 30th, 2013, along with December 31st, 2012. I would like to emphasize 3 things to you. One is our current ratio is 4.73 to 1. We have a 33-cent per share book value. And also, please notice that we have increased our shareholders' equity from $5.8 million to $6.2 million, a $400,000 swing in 9 months. Now, if we can go to slide 5, you will see that slide 5 shows Spine Pain Management had net income of $131,000 or 1 cent per share on revenue of $1,007,000 compared to net income of $104,000 in Q3 2012. This is the highest quarterly net income in 6 quarters. We recorded $2,002,259 in gross revenue for the 3 months ended September 30th, 2013, offset by $995,690 of standard allowance for discount, resulting in net revenue of $1,006,569. For the same period in 2012, gross revenue was $1,925,138, offset by $978,524 of standard allowance for discount, resulting in net revenues of $946,614. This quarter was up 6%. We manage spine injury diagnostic centers located in Texas and Florida. Service cost was $407,838 for the 3 months ended September 30th, compared to $369,296 for the same period in 2012. During the 3 months ended September 30th, we incurred $456,619 of operating, general, and administrative expenses, compared with $484,082 for the same period in 2012. The decrease is attributable to decreases in investor relations by $26,000, consultant fees of $12,000, and travel expenses of approximately $6,000, coupled with an increase in the payroll cost of $10,000, legal fees of $10,000, and non-cash director and officer compensation of $12,000, and other net and general and administrative expenses of approximately $8,000. We recorded $221,000 of non-cash charges, which are included in the net income for Q3 2013. On a year-to-date basis, for the 9 months ended September 30th, 2013, we recorded net revenue of $2.9 million and net income of $76,000, which includes $852,000 in non-cash charges. If we could go to slide 6. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Bill Donovan.
Good afternoon. I want to review with everyone some of the key developments in Q3 of 2013. It's the highest quarterly collection in a quarter in the last 4 years. It collected $948,000 in the quarter. In addition, we settled our 1,000th case in July, and by quarter's end, we had settled 1,103 cases since the beginning. We're going to show a couple graphs in the next couple slides, but from the beginning through the end of Q3, our average settlement was a little over $6,500. In Q3, it was actually $7,300. So the settlements are getting better, and that's due to implementation of certain management programs in the collection process. We're going to talk about how we take Quad Video Halo into the radiological arena with Joe Foley at Leading Edge Medical Partners. And I'll introduce Joe later in this program and how this is all connected to the RSNA convention in Chicago. I'd like to just briefly go over a snapshot of spine pain management, where we have 4 facilities in Texas and 3 facilities in Florida with our affiliated doctors. Our shareholder equity is $6.2 million, and our working capital ratio, assets to debt, is 4.7 to 1. We still have significant NOL that we can use, and we're also going to show a graph in a few minutes about the outstanding cases that have already been funded, and what does this mean for potential revenue coming into the company. Our shares outstanding are 18.7 with inside ownership of 32%. However, there's some significant number of shares of approximately 900,000 that are on a leak-out provision with 144 restrictions, where those shares will not be completely released into the market for the next 3 or 4 years. Our market capitalization is approximately $11 million, and our beneficial shareholder count is 670, approximately 670. I'm now going to have John Bergeron, our CFO, present the next 2 slides, because it'll give graphic demonstration from 2010 through Q3 now on dealing with cases, procedures, and particular collections. John?
Thank you, Dr. Donovan. Briefly, we can say that we have, since inception, 3,409 cases have come to spine pain management, resulting in a little over 6,000 procedures. At the end of the quarter, since inception, we've only had 57 cases out of the 3,409 cases that have ended with no collection, costing us $126,000 cash loss. The next slide is slide 10, and it shows our collection. Again, Dr. Donovan told you we had the highest quarter, it was $949,000. We collected on 130 cases, bringing our total to 1,103 cases settled since inception for close to $7.2 million. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Donovan.
Thanks, John. I alluded earlier how our average collections from the beginning has been a little over $6,500. Now, we've settled 1,103 cases, which means there are over 2,300 cases that have already been funded. So if we extrapolate, but remember, past performance is no guarantee of future performance. However, if we take the 2,305 cases and go with the historical average of 65.16 per case, that means there's $15 million in revenue on the cases that we've already funded. Now, if we take the settlements from Q3, which was approximately $7,300 per case, and multiply that by 2305, now we're talking about some very significant money in the pipeline of the cases that have already been funded. I just want to say a brief word about the business model. I think that what's important is down in the third paragraph. What is the rate of no collections received on a case? That is, we invest, say, $5,000, or we fund a $5,000 case, and the case ultimately settles, and we get no money. Well, it is about 1.6% of all the cases that have been funded. And if we take just the settled cases of 1103, it's a 5% failure rate. I feel that this is a low risk with this 5%. However, we want to continue working with the management programs to increase the settlements and to reduce the 1.6% lower. And remember, the affiliated doctors that we deal with own the brick and mortar. They also have the liability. The next slide talks about the Quad Video Halo technology. And I think it's really important that all our shareholders understand what's happening in medicine. Everybody is focusing now on objective findings that can be video recorded in some manner. An example, can we do range of motion x-rays to show how the actual vertebra move? Can you do it in plain x-ray with software? Do you do it in a digital manner? Or do you do it like with the Quad Video? So I think what we're doing, it's an objective, visually based method of documenting findings. And it's clear and it provides transparency. Now, we originally have developed the Quad Video Halo for internal use just in our centers. But about 3 months ago, a fellow here in Texas called me and he said, I've been watching what you're doing with this Video Halo technology. And he said, I've been in this business for 40 years in all aspects of radiology. I said, come on, I want to talk to you. Well, I met Joe Foley, terrific guy, smart. And so Spine Pain has hired Joe so that he can take our technology that we've been using in-house now to the radiological market. And this market is huge. So I want to introduce, Joe found us, we got together, so I want to now introduce you to Mr. Joe Foley. Joe?
Thank you, Dr. Donovan. Yeah, I'm a real big LinkedIn guy, and that's actually where I encountered the Halo and Dr. Donovan. And I was pretty impressed with it. I've been in medical imaging, as Dr. Donovan said, over 40 years in just about every aspect you can think. In fact, I was the national sales manager for a $70 million company and had dealers and distributors around the country, and in Canada, in fact. And I could see the possibilities immediately. Everybody's looking for a niche product. Everybody's looking for a different way to market to gain a competitive advantage. And I think the Halo does that not only for imaging centers and hospitals that I've done a lot with, but also for attorneys that are involved in personal injury. And when I speak to people outside the business, and they ask me about the technology, I say, well, if you were in a jury and some guy walked in and he had a neck brace on, you'd probably think he's probably sandbagging it. But when you actually see the product of the Quad Video and observe somebody having a needle stuck in their neck, it makes quite an impression. And I'm kind of one of those what-if guys. Well, what if we did this? What if we looked at it in another market? And I think this product is likely to be very popular for training, like in residency programs. Imaging centers are going to be able to market that to attorneys, which is an area a lot of them have never marketed to. And so when I talked to Dr. Donovan, because of my background in radiology, it was perfect timing, because the Radiological Society of North America, the RSNA, is coming up in the first week of December, brings in about 60,000 people from around the world, and all the vendors are bringing their new products and whatnot. Because of my experience with dealers and distributors, I told Dr. D, if you want to spread this across the country, that's the quickest and most effective way to do it, as opposed to having one or two salespeople. And you can see from the slide, right now, I've counted at least 146 dealers across the country. Some of them are small, some of them are large. I've identified at least 65 that are going to be attending the RSNA, and we'll be meeting with these people and telling them about the product and how they can actually increase their own revenue by buying this product. So I think the market for this it's a matter of being in the right place at the right time. I'll also be meeting with some of the people that I've known across the country over the years, not only distributorships but OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, that may be interested in selling this as an aftermarket product. And my thought was, and Dr. Donovan and I talked about it, at some point somebody like Siemens or Philips may come along and say, we really like this product, we want to buy it from you. So I think the opportunities are fantastic. Leading Edge will be providing marketing and service support for the dealers. And also, I'm kind of a media guy. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and found that to be a really good resource for marketing this product. I've already gotten quite a few hits through LinkedIn, so I'm looking forward to building, the client base through that. And so I think it's really a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to spreading this thing across the country. So I'll turn you back to Dr. Donovan.
I think our investors will get a feel for the enthusiasm that Joe has. He has experience. He found us. He understands visually based diagnostic systems, and that's what we are. So taking what Joe is going to be pursuing, and we look at future shareholder value, we want to leverage the QB technology. There's no question, and we're already doing some tests right now in combining this with a CRM. We're dealing with some new issues and opportunities in cloud-based technology. And we need to keep expanding the objective documentation standards that we are providing with the QVH. And it's going to get better and better, because this is what the American Medical Association is saying. LA Times have been saying, doctors, you need to objectively document what you're doing so that there's full transparency. I want to now talk about our management goals, is obviously to increase market share and increase our footprint in Texas and adjoining states. We've been approached by some people. In fact, they're coming from our own affiliated doctors who were calling their buddies what we're doing with this company called Spine Pain Management. I think you're going to like it. And it's now starting to open additional states, and we hope to have things to announce in a reasonable period of time. We're getting to the point, and I've said this from the beginning, that we'll bring in at the appropriate time a well-connected CEO. I have no hang-up about this. As long as this person can add value to my shareholders, that's what I want. And to be able to help us take this visually based technology into other affiliated doctors, because the patients want it, and the affiliated doctors want it. So we're developing some really terrific ideas. And we've mentioned this, and I'm just going to say it just briefly here on the San Antonio project. It's based on visually documented procedures from the beginning, and it's already opened an additional clinic in Austin. So in fact, the same people have now opened several other states that we hope we're going to be able to announce here at a reasonable time. And now moving forward with our strengths, obviously we've been in Florida. The laws down are up and down, up and down. Governor Scott, who used to run HCA, he knows the medical stuff. They implemented stuff, then they changed it, then they re-implemented it. Now they've unchanged, and apparently it's going back to something. But let me tell you, I've had enough of this roller coaster ride in Florida. Our affiliate doctors there are terrific, and we plan to continue with them, and I just hope the state gets their act in order, and I think they will. We need to build on the collection ratio, and when you go back and look at one of the slides that John showed, the collection slide, the rate and increase in collections has really accelerated. And we're now reviewing data to try to determine why is this? Is this the snowball effect? That's slide 10. But you'll see that the collections have dramatically increased, which helps us to fund additional procedures, and the value of those cases has increased. So we feel the Quad Video Halo is something that it provides objective data, and for all parties involved. The patients love it. And it's providing transparency. In April of this year, the AMA, American Medical Association, has basically said you need to document objective findings with full transparency. So in conclusion, you know what our business plan is. We want to help affiliated doctors be able to grow their practice by using a visually based diagnostic type systems. And the very last picture shows you the Quad Video Halo. Next slide. This is what we're going to be shown at the RSNA. And it makes sense, it works, and we're continually improving the technology, and we're adding in some new development programs with the Halo. And it's great. It works, and it's really terrific. So what we'll do now, I'll turn it back to the moderator so we can have some questions and answers about the Q3.
Okay, fine job, guys. Let's go back to slide 1 here, if I may. Whoops, well, okay, never mind. All right. I'm sorry. What I wanted to do was get you all to use the box on the right-hand side. Somehow we kind of skipped over that at the beginning of this presentation. And put your questions in the box where it says questions, please. And you will use it like any normal chat that you might be used to on the Internet. We have a few questions in the queue already, but apologize for not getting that in the very beginning for those who might be new on our webcast. And just go ahead and click on where it says questions and type in your question at the bottom. In the meantime, let's go to first question is for Berman. Will Halo sales be made to competitors of our diagnostic centers?
Say that again, Art. What was the question?
I guess it would be for Joe or possibly you. Will Halo sales be made to competitors of our diagnostic centers?
Terrific question. No. Wherever we feel that we're going to go in and work with an affiliated group, we will lease the Halo so that if anything changes, that piece of equipment comes back to us. Now, there are certain states where we will not be interested in going in. So we would sell units in those particular states, but they're not going to be competitors. Are we going to go to a major city where we have an affiliated group and go to competitors and sell or lease the Halo? No. So I think the Halo has significance because it's visually based, and we will be very careful how we lease or sell this technology. I believe hospitals, especially teaching hospitals, that are not competitors to our affiliated doctors, we will deal with them with either leases or sales. Does that answer your question?
Okay, next question is, will also, it says M sales, so I'm not sure if it's a typo or what there, but will sales be final sales or will they result in continuing revenue? Will they result in continuing revenues, charge per procedures, etc.?
There'd be continuing revenue with sales because there's the production of the video, the DVDs, and so forth. So we feel that we will have recurring revenue. Obviously, with the lease, there's going to be recurring revenue, both from the lease and the ancillary products that we have. We're working on 2 more types of revenue-generating services that would go with a sale or a lease. And we've been working on and using it now for probably the last 3 or 4 months. And it's something that is just super important for the doctors and all the participants. So in answer to the question, there's going to be recurring revenues, and we're building in additional parts of the model for additional revenues with either a sale or a lease.
Next question from Ratna Lajara. Good evening, gentlemen. What is your guidance for 2013 earnings?
We posted a fact sheet, and we thought for 2014, we don't like giving guidance. We gave it once about 3 years ago, and we said we would never do it. We're targeting, if the Quad Video Halo is successful and these additional revenue centers kick in, we're targeting 5 to 12 cents a share in 2014. It's a target. we're a young company, and we cannot be given out guidance. However, if this halo is accepted into the marketplace, I think our targets should look pretty good. And if it doesn't accept it, I'll just put a bullet in Joe Foley's head. But I think that we're going to get some acceptance into the marketplace to some degree.
Next question from Mark Robbins. When examining the improved poor performance figures, have you noticed any shortening of the unsettled case time, or in other words, are we getting settlements made more quickly because, one, better management procedures, or two, Quad Halo?
Mark, terrific question. We could look at the San Antonio market. It's 8 months old, and we're already getting settlements. I think it's a combination of new programs instituted in management and probably the Quad Video Halo in some manner. We're now going to be doing some studies, especially with San Antonio, because from day one it had the Quad Video, whereas our other affiliated doctors, it came in at different periods of time. So we know that some of the management programs that have been instituted are helping. And we're going to use the San Antonio and Austin and newer centers to monitor how soon we can get cases settled, and most importantly, is it at the previous level of 6,500, or is it a newer percents and so forth, or is it newer level? So it's a combination probably of both, but we're going to do a quick retrospective study, then a prospective study, especially with San Antonio.
And the next question is from Adam Winters. What are the terms of lease of the Halo?
John, can you handle that?
We will probably go through an outside leasing company. I'm thinking it would probably be considered a capital lease on part of the lessor. It'll be 3 to 5 years, I would guess, at market rates, percentage-wise. Does that answer your question?
I have to assume it does. Is the Halo technology, by Mark Robbins again, is the Halo technology patented? Can it be? Are there other treatment procedures, surgeries, etc. that could use the technology? Help me understand the lease accounting. I'm sorry, that's the second question. Let's stop with this one.
Okay, let's back up. Let's talk about how could we use the Halo in a teaching hospital. Well, new procedures. When you have residents doing procedures, the attending will want to be able to review these procedures, be it diagnostic procedures, surgical procedures, whatever. So is there an area there that we're looking at? Yeah, Joe Foley's one says, look, we need to go after that. And he's already talking on with hospitals. And we're talking about clinical trials. So the part about the Halo, there's a lot of opportunity because it's a visually objective method to document. What was the other part?
Okay, the other part was, the second question was helping understand lease accounting. Should there be both a cost? I'm sorry. Helping understand the lease accounting, there should be both a cost of capital and maintenance, but these should also be a contribution amount as well, right?
Okay, there's currently we have an operating lease with the Quad Video Halo in San Antonio. As we start to manufacture these and we get it going, I foresee that these will be capital leases, which will, for all intents and purposes, will be like a sale on our books. The lessor will depreciate the asset, whereas now we own the video, but we lease it out and we record the depreciation. I don't see us having a string or an inventory of Quad Video Halos that we lease out for a couple of months. When somebody makes a purchase, they can finance it through a capital lease through an outside financing company. When we say leasing, that's what we mean. There's also another revenue stream on being able to help record the video disc and things of that nature, and I'll let Dr. Donovan address that. But I hope that answers your question for you.
Okay, from Ratna, Georgia. Thank you. Are you aware that Yahoo Profile Issue is an information technology company? And funny, but it ties right into Mark Robbins' next question. Since Dr. Donovan owns so much of the stock, this answer would be most important. That said, how do you make the spin story more technological story rather than a finance company story?
Well, it's interesting. That's a great question. We're coming up with some new technology that it'll be very clear how we take the visually based diagnostic procedures that can be documented, can be stored in a particular manner, and that information can be at people's fingertips. This is going to be clear. We're using some new technology that we've developed in the marketing part, and I think we will talk more about that probably early next year. We're using stuff right now, and it's really slick. So I think you'll find where the technology is going to be very important and for storage and distribution of information. And you're going to see more and more technology added to the patent pending technology that we have right now.
Okay, again from Herb Berman, who will store the video data from the Halo documentation? Can we charge for doing this?
Remember, the DVD disc, that belongs to the patient for the affiliated doctors. That goes into their chart. There is a method that we've been using for storage of things now, coupled with some other technology where it can be, the information can be provided to end users very quickly. And this is some of the new technology things that we're talking about. And it'll be clear over the next 3 months.
Next question about how many Halo patient recording files do we now have? Mark Robbins.
We started the Halo. In Florida, they were using it in 2012. We started in Texas in 2012, obviously in 2013. We've been asked to go back and identify the actual number of cases to be able to track the progress of that case. So we're doing exactly what your question is in a retrospective manner. That's why I said earlier, the San Antonio can be a prospective manner. But we are going to now start isolating cases. Was there a video based in this? And how we're going back. That question has been brought up by several shareholders just recently. And we hope to have something to announce here when we get that data computed, because it'll be used from our standpoint, obviously, for a marketing aspect.
From Herb Urban, how many centers can we fund from present cash flow and cash on hand? And that might be a good There's actually a second question. You can tie them both in together. You plan on moving into any out-of-state areas? Because you mentioned in the conference call.
The second question, yes. We've been approached. We've had other people coming to us. People are now learning about the Quad Video Halo, and they're learning about how the affiliated doctors are working. We will be in some other states here fairly soon, and with the collections continuing to stay high and the cash in our banks right now, we're looking to open a couple more centers fairly quickly. And if these contacts who have approached us from outside, we'll find a method to get the additional affiliates. So I can't give you a specific number right now, Herb, but it's going to happen.
Can you describe the market opportunity in the legal arena by Mark In? I guess.
Well, the value of Quad Video is transparency. It lets everybody know what a particular diagnostic procedure shows. Now, it could benefit, everybody is going to want transparency. And it may help one side one time, may help another side another time. We can't predict what the transparency is going to show, but the key thing is it shows in transparent. I believe if you couple diagnostic procedures with transparency to some other technology, it'll be very well received by all parties that are involved with people who are injured and they have various types of procedures done. And this is something that we're going to be talking about more over the next 3 to 4 months.
Okay, here it is. Herb, you tried to send a message in here, but it got cut off. How soon before a new other? You might want to, while we take the next question, you might want to resubmit that question. I don't think that's all you meant to ask. And the next question is, how soon, I'm sorry. Okay, what does the competitive landscape look like for the Halo technology? Is there a moat?
We haven't seen anybody with what we as competitors to the Halo. I'm sure there's other types of complementary technology, digital motion X-rays, other types of motion X-rays, but what the Quad Video does is something very, very much different. And it's the objectivity part. And I think it's going to benefit us very well over the next many years.
Next question. What revenues are we hoping for from a new center 1 year after we start up?
John? Sorry, what was the question? With a new center started up after 1 year, what kind of revenues would we expect? Say San Antonio as an example.
Well, in San Antonio, we're getting a little over 100,000 in gross revenue now. Every location is different, but we would expect after 6 months to be getting close to the 100,000 in gross billings.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah.
That's 100,000 per month.
Here's another question. Have you been approached by any VCs or large companies about partnerships? That was from Mark In.
VCs, no. Other companies have called have called and they're very interested in what we're doing. And we get calls, two to three calls a day, people wanting to give us money. Well, everybody goes through that. We're not interested in that. But we're interested in alignment where our technology would complement somebody else's. And we're looking at some stuff right now. But it's very premature to state would this work out or not. But it's a perfect complementary technology for other visually based objective diagnostic systems.
Well, that seems to be about the end of the questions. Just a reminder, the company has put out a press release at the close of business today and also filed their third quarter 10-Q with the Securities and Exchange Commission, so you can find more information there. And here comes another question from Mark Berman. Can we self-fund 6 to 8 new centers per year?
Self-fund 6 to 8? No, that's too many. But we will get some more centers out, and we'll figure out how to do it.
Any more questions?
I have one question for our shareholders, especially those listening. Do you prefer this webinar type method on conference calls, or would you prefer to go back to the 1-800 phone number type phone calls? I've had quite a few investors in the last couple weeks saying they don't like webinar. They want to go back to a 25-minute telephone for the Qs. Would you please send us in your thoughts, because we're willing to look at all sides so that we can keep our shareholders informed about what's going on. So I asked you to send us an email, info@spinepaintinc.com.
Type it in right now.
Yeah.
We've already got 3 answers already. Webinar, no question. I like the webinar. Webinar is much easier. That's 3 already.
That's for the people on it. But it seems like
on the webinar.
Yeah, I know. It seems like in the last week I met some older investors, and they don't like the webinar. But old dogs can learn new tricks. So yeah, it's a biased sample. But listen, I appreciate everybody on. You know, it's been a long trek here, and let me tell you, the people here at the company are excited. Things are clicking. We have some good people involved and some new technology coming down the path very soon I think you're going to like. So we'll figure out, we'll most likely to continue with a webinar. We like it, but I'm just trying to help and accommodate as many shareholders as possible. But I want to thank everyone today for taking time and listening to our story. And we got the ship turned around. It's heading in the right direction, and we got to keep moving ahead. And there's some really great opportunities, there's no question. And we're getting calls every day on other companies and entities that want to somehow get involved with us. And that's why we're looking at other things that will complement what we're doing. But thank you very much, and you all have a great day.